In this exercise, we are going to create Azure resources using Azure Resource Manager template. For this activity, we are going to use Visual Studio Code. It's a IDE which can help you to create different scripts using different programming languages. First, you can uh, download this Visual Studio Code from Microsoft website or the official Visual Studio Code site. It's a Microsoft product, Visual Studio Code, and then visit to this site code.visualstudio.com, and you can download it for your operating system, whether it's a Windows, Linux, Mac, and install it. Run the installer. So here you can see the download has been started. I have already downloaded this application and installed it on my machine. So I have cancelled it, and the installation is very simple. You can just double click on the CXC and then follow the wizard to complete the installation. Once the installation has been finished, you can launch the application from start menu, click on start menu and click on the Visual Studio icon. Okay, once Visual Studio is started, you can close the getting started page, and then you need to open the folder where you can store your all the code. So let's click on open folder, and I will create one test folder here, or any folder you can create and add it in your workspace. Okay, select this folder, and now you can use this folder to store your files. Click on yes, I trust the authors. Okay, so from the first Explorer icon, we added a new folder in Visual Studio to store our files or the scripts. And now you can click on new file or new folder as needed. Let's start coding. On my laptop, I have moved this Visual Studio window at the right side so that I can get the browser and the Visual Studio code on the same page in the same window so that we can easily see both applications at the same time and make the changes so that we don't have to switch the windows. Okay, also in this exercise we will be using the resource manager, Azure Resource Manager tools for Visual Studio Code. So it is an extension for Visual Studio which will help us to automate the task or speed up the template creation or Azure resource creation. Okay, so let's first create the template Azure deploy.json. I'll be giving all these URLs in the description. You can open these URLs and follow me while I am doing this activity. So as soon as I created a new file with the extension .json, here at the bottom, Visual Studio is prompting you to install the extension for the JSON. So it is suggesting you to install that specific JSON or Azure Resource Manager template, which can help you to speed up the development of your template. Now you can see as soon as I click on install, the installation has been started for this particular extension. For some reason, if you don't get this prompt here at the bottom, you can always go to the extension from the left side menu bar in Visual Studio. You can click on the extension and in the search box type Azure Resource Manager, and that will show you a lot of templates. Out of those list, you can select the template which is create extension which is created by Microsoft and click on install. So right now you can see it is installed. Now again go back to your file from the Explorer, select your file. You can close this window, extension window, and also getting started window can be closed. Let me increase the font. Let's see if control, okay, okay, yes, control shift plus is increasing the font size. Okay, I will decrease a little bit. Okay, so this way I have increased my font size so that you can see properly. And now let's create our first template. Okay, and to create a first template we can simply type R and then this exclamation mark or the bang sign and then hit enter. So that will automatically in- add the code. Since we have installed the extension on template extension, it has automatically added the code as soon as we type ARM and exclamation mark and then enter, it automatically it has added the required code or the required properties which are needed for any template. So schema, parameters, function, variable, content version, resource output. These are the minimum required parameters or properties of the templates. Okay, now you can see in the exercise file also we have this similar file created, and now we can save this file using Control S. Okay, the file has been saved, and now we can deploy this template in Azure. Okay, even though this is a blank template, we can still deploy this template in Azure, and now we can click on Activate Sandbox. We will be using PowerShell, so let's click on Activate Sandbox. Give it a minute or so. Again, if you have already not signed in to your browser or into the Microsoft website, it will ask you to sign in. Make sure you log into this site using your personal account, and if needed, you can also open these URLs in the private mode or incognito mode so that it will not conflict with your other Azure credential or subscriptions. Okay, and this will now activate the sandbox. Okay, now let's go below. The sandbox has been activated, and now we can scroll down, and now we can deploy this newly created template in the Azure. For that, we need to open the terminal. From the select menu terminal, click on new terminal. So that will basically launch the terminal. Let me extend this so that I can see the menus. And now I will click on new terminal. And here you can see at the bottom, it is opening a command prompt terminal. And from here, you can see select what kind of terminals you want. You want PowerShell terminal, or if you want a Bash terminal. Or from here also you can click on this plus sign, and then it it should give an option. Okay, somehow it is not giving an option, but there is definitely one option to open Bash or PowerShell terminal. Okay, and now we got the terminal. Now let's run this script, the template. Okay, here you can see this way we can select the Bash or PowerShell terminal. We have selected the PowerShell, and now let's move on. Now we need to connect to Azure using connect-az connect PowerShell CMD link module. Make sure you have already installed the PowerShell Azure module by following the previous exercise which we have done, and do the copy paste. Okay, connect-az connect is a command to connect to Azure portal. It's a PowerShell command, and now you can see it's taking a little bit time, but eventually we should get a prompt to connect to Azure. So here you can see that it took some time, but eventually I got the sign in prompt to log into Microsoft Azure portal. And now here you can enter your email address which you have used to activate the sandbox. You need to use that same user email address and password. So now you can see it is signing into the Azure portal. Also in the browser, you can open new window, new tab, and log into portal.azure.com. Again, make sure that you are using the same Azure credential or the same browser to log in. Whatever email address you have used to activate the sandbox, use that same email address to log in into Azure portal. And now on this screen, you can see that we have successfully connected to the Azure portal. I will just close the Visual Studio, and no, I will not close it, right? That's fine. This is, loading ARM schema. I'm using the virtual machine, that's why the processes are very slow. Okay, now let's move on and do the next step. Okay, so here you can see we have access the Azure portal, and also make sure that here on the top right corner you should see the Microsoft Learn Sandbox. So all these activities we are going to do in the sandbox environment, not in our paid subscription or free tier. And now we have connected. The next thing is we need to set the context. Like we want to tell Visual Studio Code in which subscription we are going to work, what subscription we are using to perform our activities. So for that, first you can use the command get-ag subscription to list all the subscriptions which are available in your account. Okay, let me clear this terminal so that we can see more, we can get the more window space. Okay, I will repeat the command again, get dash ag subscription, and that will print all the subscription which are available in our account. And since we are using the sandbox, we have only one subscription in our sandbox. Okay, now let's move on. We need to use the command get subscription and then set the context. We need to set the context, like we need to, okay, we don't want to paste two lines. So we'll take this command in the notepad and make a single line. And then also I will get the subscription ID. You can copy this ID, subscription ID, and select it and do Control C. Okay, then let me paste it here. Okay, and now I can copy this entire command and paste it in the terminal. Okay, this way I am setting the context. Okay, let me extend this and let me retype the command. Set I'm missing here in the command. Okay. Oh, these are actually not one line command. These are two different commands. So we have to run it like this. We have to get the subscription in context, and then we have to run the first AG context and hit enter. Okay, and now then I need to run command set context. Okay, so this way we have set the context or set the subscription, default subscription on which we want to run. Same way, whenever you have multiple subscription in your account, other portal, you need to specify your default subscription on which you want to deploy the resources or make any changes. Okay, this is very important, otherwise you will get the errors and you will end up doing something different which is not required. And then also we need to set the default resource group on which you want to, in which resource group you want to deploy the resources. So this resource group is already created for you inside the other portal sandbox, and we have set that resource group as a default resource group so that we don't have to specify again and again. Now next is we want to deploy the uh, template which we have created. Again, it's a blank template, so it is not going to do anything, but we can see how we can deploy the template and what all changes it will do. Okay, now in this case, you either you can copy paste these all lines one by one. I will copy paste all lines one by one and explain you what is that. So first of all, we are setting a variable name as a template file, and we have mentioned the what is the file name. Then in second thing, we are getting the date, and that information is getting stored in the dollar today variable. Okay, so and then we are also creating a new deployment name, blank template, plus it will add today's name to that deployment. And then next we are creating a new AZ resource deployment. You can copy this command same way. Okay, so this way now we have started typing multi-line command. So you can see the end quote is there, the beginning quote, escape character is there. So that's why we got a new line for typing. Then give the name of the command. We are deploying new template using AZ resource deployment command and giving the parameters, information, name, and the template name. Okay, and now you can see, let's see what is happening inside the portal. Okay, now we can log into the portal again, access the Microsoft portal and go to the resource group, find the learning resource group which is already created for you, and then go to the deployment section to see the recent activities, recent deployment activities. And now here you can see we started the deployment. The deployment name was blank template and today's date was there. And you can see the deployment is successful. If you click on that task, deployment task, then you can see some additional information. But as you know, we have not provided any kind of information or any kind of resource creation. So this is a blank template. So we just we tested the deployment. There is nothing inside that. It was just a schema with all required parameters. Okay, now let's move on. You can also see, if we click on the resource group, on the resource group overview page, we can see one deployment succeeded. Okay, so we have done all this. Make sure you read all the instructions and understand what exactly we are doing and how it is working. Now next is we need to add a resource in the ARM template so that we can create some resource in Azure template, in the Azure. Now in this particular exercise, we are going to create a storage account using JSON template. For that, we are going to modify the template and add the all required options or parameters to create the storage account. Okay, and since let's start in under the resource section in the JSON file, we need to add our resource details. Okay, let's go back to Visual Studio. In Visual Studio, under the resource parameters or section, we need to type storage, and that will automatically prompt you to select the uh, code which we need to insert in this particular Visual Studio. So you then you can type ARM dash storage. You can select that, and now you can see it has added all the code which is required to create a storage account. So basically, we need to provide the storage account name, then type, API version, tags, display name, then the location it is taking the location of the resource group, then kind storage account v2, the SKU premium LRS, and the tier will be premium. Now you can modify this information as per your choice. Like you can modify anything as needed. So we are not going to change the location because it is going to take the location of the resource group. Okay, now let's see what all things we can modify. We can change the value of resource name and display name. Okay, let's use the same name, but now again you cannot use the same name because the storage account name has to be unique. Okay, so that's why we will have to modify it, and they're saying us to modify the name and display name. Here we go, and now here you can type your own, let's check the own storage account, you type it there. Okay, so we can see learn AZ10422. Okay, and I will copy the same account name in the display name also. Okay, so this way we change some values as per our requirement. Also, you can change the storage type from premium storage to standard LRS. Okay, or you can keep it the same also. Uh, and again, it's depend on your requirement and choice. From premium tier, we are changing to standard tier. And since it's a sandbox, you can definitely make the changes as per your requirement. Okay, and since we have installed the extension, extension is also automatically providing you the suggestion to put the required values. Okay, now once you modify the template, you can save the template. And let's go back to the deployment again. We have already set all these parameters, but let's see again. Okay, I have saved the template after making the changes, and now we can, let's type these commands on again. Okay, either you can copy in all the code lines at once and paste it in the terminal, or you can type one by one and then hit enter to come run that command. Okay, now in this case the file name is same, deployed JSON template. Again we are taking the date, and also here we are modifying the deployment name. Now the deployment name is add storage, and it will have today's date. Okay, and then we are using the command new Azure resource group deployment, and then we are providing the name of the deployment and the template name. Hit enter, and now we can again go back to the portal and check whether the storage account has been created or not. If you have typed anything incorrectly, then we will get the error. And also if your storage account name is not unique, then also we will get the error. And if you get any kind of errors, try to resolve that error, understand what is wrong with the template, try to match the template with the changes suggested here, and make sure you have the correct template. Okay, now let's go back to the Azure portal, and on this portal, let's refresh from the top. You can refresh the browser, or whenever needed you can use the application refresh button which is inside the portal, and within few minutes we should be able to see the deployment number of deployment change, and also we should see the add storage deployment succeeded. Okay, and let me go to the overview page. So here you can see two deployments are succeeded. Okay, and if we go to the deployments, we can see the name of the deployment, that's the add storage, and let's click on that add storage deployment, and let's go to the template, and here we can see all the values which we had given, the display name, standard tier and everything. And now we can find the storage account. Let's search for storage account, go to the storage accounts, and here we can see the storage account which we have created using the templates. This is how we can create the resources, Azure resources, using the Azure template, and template will help you to automate the task again and again. You can run the same template and get the same result. Okay, now in next exercise we will try to modify this template and uh, make it dynamic so that we can accept the parameters. Okay, thanks for watching.